They say music is life, so I give them the Cha Music Review podcast. Turned up the volume, gave them the time of their lives. They said they wanted new artists, I gave them the Cha Spotlight series. They wanted deep music conversations, I plugged them into the Cha Let's Talk Music series. They are crazy about the hit makers, so I hit them with the Cha Hit Makers series. And for the albums I know they shouldn't miss, I blessed them with the Cha Album Review series. I created the Cha EP compilation series, so they will have a taste of the best of EPs. They should tell their friends. You should let your family know. We should let everyone who cares about African music know. Hafeestonova is back in the game, and you can catch me every Saturday amplifying the African sounds by bringing the best of African music to your ears. I am your musical plug, the creator of the Energy Force, and this is the Cha Music Review podcast. Good day, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Cha Album Review series on the Cha Music Review podcast. It's your boy oddFelix, and I'm here with Hafeestonova. Today, we're going to be talking about one album I've been playing so much. My girlfriend now associates it with me. It's the album by Portable, Street Don Jazzy. The album by Portable, Street Don Jazzy. When Hafeestonova comes, he's going to call the full name of the album. But for now, let's just call it Street Don Jazzy. It's an album of over 20 tracks, or 20 tracks rather, 20 tracks here, around 1 hour long, and so many styles all in one place. It's a lovely album to listen to. So I have here with me Hafeestonova to join me to talk about this album. I think he listened to it first, and then when I listened to it and talked about how much I love the album, he asked me to join him on this one. So yeah, Hafeestonova.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Like oddFelix have said, we'll be talking about Portable's latest, album. And I know it's weird. Some of you might be looking at Portable. You guys are discussing Portable's latest album, but yeah, Portable is a Nigerian artist, and like I used to say, when the music is good, the music is good. I don't mind who is singing it or what language is being, sang out. As much as the music is good, I will listen to it. And one of the things, that makes it difficult for us is that at times we listen to these songs and make sure that if it is good, you listen, and if it is not good, you don't waste your time bother listening to it. So that's some of the things we help you guys out. So like oddFelix have said, the name of the album is actually titled Anikuleti Street Don Jazzy. Now, when I first saw the name of the album, I was like, okay, waiting carry Don Jazzy enter the name of this album, because I just don't understand, the naming of the album. I don't understand. If it had been Anikuleti Street, I'll have probably understood what it was saying. But Anikuleti Street Don Jazzy, that doesn't sound like a place that exists anywhere. But then again, that is the name of Portable's latest album. And yes, I actually first heard the album first, right? But when I listened to the album first, I think I had not gone beyond 3-4 tracks, and then I saw you listening to the album, and the way you were waxing about it, I'm like, okay, for her to be listening to this album and be waxing about this album like this, then I need to go back and listen, because after listening to the first 3-5 tracks, not like I wasn't interested, but I just had so many other projects I needed to listen to. I'm like, whoa, let me just put Portable one side. But then I saw you listening, I'm like, okay, fine. I think this has to be something good for her to continue listening to it like this. I need to go back and listen, into it. But before we now dive into the album proper, let me just, quickly give a few, a few information. And let me add more information to what others rightly said. Like you rightly said, the album has 20 tracks. The album was released on the 20th of November 2023. The album didn't have a single feature. There was nobody that was featured on the album, just Portable all through. The album was produced by Professional, Shocker, MONSTAR, Xtrapro, Spiritual Beatz, Nicko, Tino Santa, Big Money Beatz, Igbira Boy, Awotrick. Those were the people that produced the album. So now, let me ask you this, Felix. What actually led you to listen to this album? Because I know Portable is not like one of those artists that you naturally fancy. So what was the motivation for you to go and listen to this album?
Okay, first of all, you are wrong. Portable is an artist I fancy so much. I don't think since I started listening to him, I don't think there's any project, any single album, whatever by him that I haven't listened to. So I actually fuck with Portable a lot. Like I fuck with him so much. I remember when he dropped As a Man, it was an anthem in my house for a while. Yeah, so I love Portable, and my love for him is not just from the music. I think his unconventional lifestyle, his unconventional, will I call it social media lifestyle or TV lifestyle, or his life that's in the public eye, his unconventional life in the public eye is what actually keeps me interested in him, right? So I want to follow this guy. I want to see what this guy is all about. And if this same person can actually impress me with music too, then we should keep it going, right? It works like that for me.
I mean, to be honest, I never really saw you as that guy that will always listen to Portable. But yes, again,
now you know.
All right, so let's dive into the album. Let's give it a spin. Tell me, what was your impression the first time you listened to the album?
Okay, the first time I listened to the album was it's before the album itself dropped. It had been a while since I listened to Portable. The album felt new. It felt a bit different from what I heard the last time I listened to him, which was what's the album called? Ika of Africa, I think. Yeah, so it felt a bit different. It felt to me, it felt like a more improved version of the album. I found when I listened to this other album, I felt so many distinct styles. I saw someone who wasn't necessarily trying to keep up with trends just trying to do his own thing and killing it. I saw Portable doing styles I had never really pictured him doing. Of course, everything is Afrobeat, but you won't find the same sound listening from the beginning to the end. You find some distinction, so it's like a switch between different kind of sounds in Afrobeat, and still his voice here, of course, that is weird, amazing, sweet voice. It's just there all through the whole thing. But the album generally is okay. Of course, you expect me to miss a lot of the things he said in the album because he's speaking Yoruba. He spoke a lot of English too, but I got to miss a lot of things in the album because of the language he's speaking. But yeah, so the parts I feel disconnected with when it comes to Portable is usually the album names and how they work with the songs, because I don't think the first album, Ika of Africa, actually followed the mood style. I don't think it was in tune with the songs anyway, even though the songs were all right. Same thing with this one. I think the songs are all right, but I don't see how the album actually, how the album title actually fits the name of the song. But outside of that, I think the album is an impressive body of work.
On your first listening, like, okay, you are picking up this album for the first time and you were listening to it, 20 tracks, I not gonna lie you, that's a lot. I can't remember the last artist that did 20 tracks album. Maybe we'll have to go back 5-10 years if I'm not even exaggerating. Like,
Chris Brown.
The interesting thing is, even these 20 tracks are not a minute and 40 seconds or a minute and 50 seconds. These are 20 tracks of about, let's say, 3 minutes, 40 seconds and stuff like that. So were you able to listen through from the beginning to the end on your first listening? Or you have to like say, okay, you know what, I don't tire, make I come back another day?
Okay, when I listen to an artist when I listen to a project rather for the first time, no matter how good or bad it sounds, I listen all through. So if I say this project is trash, it's not that I said it based on 3 songs. I said it because I listened to everything. And if I say the project is good, it's not because I listened to 4 good songs, because I listened to everything. So I listened to the first listen, I listened to everything. Second listen, I listened to everything. Third listen, I listened to everything. And fourth listen, you cut me off to come and be on this podcast.
No problem. Now, talking about the sound, because I mean, you rightly mentioned that when you were listening to the album, there was a lot of, different, even though everything was Afrobeat, like you rightly said, but there was still, alternative sounds in each of the track. And so let's talk about the production. I mean, in all of the producers that worked on the album, I think the only 3 people that I'm familiar with, or probably even 2, I'm familiar with Professional, I'm familiar with Shocker, I'm also familiar with Spiritual Beatz, but the rest of them, I'm not really familiar, with them. But that being said, what would you say about, the production of the album in general?
I don't know. I feel like most of the times, production is not really, most of the time, production is not an issue for most of these guys who have good budgets for their works, right? They usually have good production. And so I usually find it hard answering those kind of questions about what I feel about the production. I think rather what the question should be the composition. So I think the composition of the songs are actually great. I don't know what to expect from Portable. I'm more of a fan of his lifestyle, or rather, I'm more of someone who's watching his lifestyle, someone who's watching out for his music. So remember what I said earlier, how I think whatever he puts out there as his life is interesting, and if this same person can give good music, then okay, I can take both, right? Yeah. So I don't know what to expect from Portable musically, but the composition of the songs, I'm impressed with them. For the production, I think all the songs are well produced because, well, they're not going to spend plenty money on a song and not get good production. You return it back to the studio now, right? So focusing on the composition, I think they are all impressive.
Like you already said, to be honest, the production of the songs, were good. What I enjoyed most about the production and, the songs in general, what I enjoyed most were the beats, right? Like you rightly said, different sound. You could hear that, okay, this one is different from this one is different from this one is different from that. And like you rightly said at the beginning, the unconventional, way that it does this thing, normally for an album that has 20 tracks, I don't know whether I'm a year, but if like I know hear one single piano on top of the album.
Yeah, there was not a piano.
Exactly. Which you find weird.
That's
right?
why I said, well, I don't see him as someone that's trying to follow trends. I just see him as someone that was doing his thing.
Exactly. So now let's talk about the tracks, on the album. Let's talk about 20 tracks. Let's talk about songs that were your favorite, right? Say you want to do a playlist from these 20 tracks on Portable's album. How many songs would you take out and say, okay, these are the songs that is going to make, this playlist, and these songs will not make this playlist?
3 songs are my top. Hush Puppy, Hush Puppy, Ibitins, and Teramo. Hush Puppy, Ibitins, Teramo. So I'll include them in an Afrobeat playlist or a dance playlist. Songs that will not make it to my. Okay, yeah, I'm also not going to lie. There were some songs that I just listened to and I'm like, okay, yeah, these songs are there, right? I'm not saying they were bad songs. I'm just like, I wasn't necessarily like freaked out to save them or release them and that kind of thing. Those songs are there, but I didn't take note of them. I was more of concerned with the songs I loved the most, and those are the 3 I just mentioned. So how about you?
Okay, for me, I think the first thing I enjoyed about the album was the first song, Michael Jackson. Now, when I first saw the title, I'm like, okay, what exactly is this guy going to sing? But then I listened to the song, and probably because of I understand Yoruba very much, I understand what he was saying on the song, and it's just practically makes sense. Like, this is someone that, a lot of people will say he's being proud, or a lot of people say he's being arrogant, but I just see him, he has so much belief in himself and his talent and his craft, and he's saying, look, man, even if Michael Jackson should come back today, he cannot be, he cannot outshine him, right? That is what he's basically saying.
Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying is the kind of grace that he has. Even if Michael Jackson should come back today, Michael Jackson cannot have that grace. And of course, if you understand the story of Portable, you would say that, okay, yes, what he's saying, right, is good. You understand what he's saying? Yeah, so that's why I said the first song really got to me, because I understood everything he was saying. I'm like, fine, you make sense. So obviously, and I love the fact that there was no beat. It was just more of a cappella, or make I call them acoustic. There was really I totally enjoyed, because again, like you rightly mentioned, his vocals is one thing that his biggest strength. He has that vocals, and that's his biggest strength. And I love the way he flexed it on that first track, and that was a very, very big positive for me. Another song that I like on that album, like you also mentioned, is what's the name of this song that you mentioned now?
Hush Puppy.
Yeah,
Hush Puppy.
I enjoyed Hush Puppy too, and then $1 billion. I mean, Baba God, $1 billion is not too small for me. So
I posted a quote from $1 billion on my status today. I don't know if you saw it.
I mean, $1 billion is not too much for me. So just do it for me, right? To be honest, I think I enjoyed most of the songs from track 1 up until after we got to after Hush Puppy. Yeah, I enjoyed all the tracks from track 1 to Hush Puppy. But from Almost There downward, there were some songs I didn't really like. Not that they were not interesting, I just really liked them because it now started to bring back, that old Portable. So the way it is was those first songs that I spoke about were songs whereby it was just quote and unquote playing. It was just singing normal, talking about reality of life and what he has been through and blah, 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 blah. And then from that Almost There downward, he started talking about his lyrics started becoming more vulgar, more raw, talking about quote and unquote, quote and unquote, I was talking about pussy and girls, and that was like, oh God, Portable, I thought we've left this in the South Africa. Why are you bringing it back again? But then that is Portable, and that is always going to be Portable, right? But like I said, when those songs started coming in, that was when I started having like, okay, like you also rightly said, these ones, not like they are not good, but it just doesn't cut it for me. Not that they are not good, doesn't just cut it for me. But still, like that song titled Mama, I also enjoyed Mama. I love what he did on Mama. That's, another song that I also, enjoyed. But I felt like, and this is just me speaking, and I want to hear your opinion about this. Do you think that one or two features will have done this album a great job, especially for someone like, let's say, because when I was listening to the album, I feel like Bella Shmurda could have actually worked on this album. People like Small Doctor could have actually, worked on this album. Those are just, some of the people I feel could have, helped boost the album. But for you, do you think a feature would have done this album a lot better?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking features when I listened to the album. But I think the names you dropped anyway are some names that could fit into his style. But I don't know. I think the album is okay without them. Maybe if you're talking of promotion-wise, the names may be able to help the album promotion-wise. But if you're talking of other aspects like the actual sound of the album itself, I think it's okay without any features.
Let's try to wrap up this whole conversation. And how would you, right, say you want to tell somebody to go and listen to Portable's album, this album, how would you describe the album to someone, and then what rating would you also give the album, just like make sure say the person listen to him?
How do I convince somebody to listen to Portable? I don't know. I'll give the album a 7. I'll give the album a 6 rather. I'll give the album a 6 because why am I giving it a 6? I'll give the album a 7 rather. I'll give the album a 7. And I don't know how to convince someone to listen to Portable. I know a couple of people think he's weird. I was in a session a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about bad examples, and someone was trying to name drop Portable, and I was like, no, don't do that. But yeah, so I don't know how to convince people to listen to Portable, but I don't know. I can give the album a 7 by 10, which I think is okay.
All right, let me rephrase the question. It's not really about convincing them to listen to Portable, which I mean, in this case, I think it's going to be a bit difficult to separate the two. But say this album, like what we are doing right now, we've actually reviewed this album, right? And there are people that have been listening to it. They're like, okay, so in the end, what are you saying? Should I go and listen to the album, or I should not listen to it? How do we tell them that, okay, why should they give this album a listening ear?
Well, if you listen to a lot of Portable, you'll be hearing something new for a while. It's I don't know. It may just be if you've not really been a fan of Portable, this may convert you. And I don't know, if you are used to the regular Afrobeat sounds and you want to try something that's slightly different, then you should check out this album.
Okay. For me, I think what I'm going to say is this, right? One thing I will use to convince you is, number one, the fact that all this year talking about this album says a lot about the album. So that's number one. That's number one. Number two, I think you will find the album interesting because there is so much calmness in this album compared to the old Zazu era. There's a lot of calmness. His voice is calm, his melody is calm. Even his lyrics are more calm. Like I said, there was still some tracks where he actually, went back, to those, eras where he was vocal and all of that. But those tracks were not much compared to the other tracks where it was just basically talking about, life. There was a track, I can't remember that track. There was a track where he said something about, if you fake it till you make it, you cannot remake it. And I'm like, oh my God, see Portable dropping quotable lyrics. Like that's that's the interesting part, about the album. And if you really understand Yoruba very well, if you listen to this album, you understand that this is someone that is talking or that is singing about his life and what he has been through and how much he appreciates, where he is right now in his life and, just everything around him. Yes, he has made mistakes. He's not perfect. He's a human being. But if you hear his music, you can understand where he's coming from and why he's acting, the way he might be acting. And even aside the music general, you will also notice that 2023 Portable has been more calmer compared to 2022 and 2021, and that has also reflected, in his music. All that said is going to give the album a 7. I would say I'm going to give the album a 6.5. Did I enjoy listening to the album? Yes. Is it an album that I'll recommend for you to listen? I'll say yes if you are a fan of Portable, right?
If you're a fan of Portable. You should be a fan of Portable. Come on, stop listening to only Apple Music Top 100. Come down and listen to good music.
Let me put it like this and say, this is an album you should listen to try and give Portable a chance as an artist. If he continues in this wave, then I think he's an artist that is going to be here for a long time. It might not be the next big thing. It might not be the Davidos. It might not be the Wizkid and the Burna Boys, right? But it's going to be that artist that his time is going to come. And when I mean his time is going to come, everybody will turn to like, so we don't know, say this guy, they sing like this, right? So that is just it. So pick up the album, listen to the album. And the good thing about this thing is when you listen to the album, you can also let us know, what you feel about the album. Maybe the album is total trash and nobody should ever listen to Portable again. Or you feel like, okay, yes, now I see and I understand what you people are saying. And then, okay, fine. So I'll also keeping an eye or keeping a ear, for Portable. So that is that on that. Felix, is there anything you want to say to round up the episode?
No, I don't think there's anything else I want to say. I just want to... since I started the episode, let me wrap it up. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening to my beautiful voice. So, that was today on Portable. So until we see next time, what does Hafeestonova say? Oh, good Lord, somebody remind me. Is it keep the energy? Wait. No, come back and teach me. So I'll say it. Come back and teach me. Teach me the lines.
Keep the energy, keep it 100 and keep it positive.
Oh yeah, so keep the energy, keep it 100 and keep it positive. It's oddFelix, I'm out. Bye.
Time for the Cha gang. Give me the Cha gang. Rocking with the best, the Cha gang. Give me the Cha gang. I like it with Cha gang. Give me the Cha gang. What's in my body, Cha gang. Give me the Cha gang.
wá tí máa gbọ́.